Look in the kitchen trash can for a second. Not to feel bad. Not because you did anything wrong. Just because in 2026, that trash can is quietly connected to your budget in ways most people never notice. A lot of households are not running out of money because they are buying too much of the wrong thing. They are losing money because they are throwing away value before it has really been used up. A container that could hold leftovers. A box that could organize a drawer. A jar that could store dry goods. A cloth that could clean one more spill. An item that gets replaced too soon because it is not where it should be, or because a newer version looked easier. And when grocery prices, cleaning supplies, paper goods, and everyday household items cost more than they used to, every one of those little replacement choices matters more. This video is not about being cheap. It is about protecting money you already earned. It is about understanding how the system nudges normal people into throwing away useful value, then buying it back at full price. And once you start seeing it, you cannot unsee it, because the real leak is not one big mistake. It is dozens of tiny ones. A half-used item that gets discarded. A duplicate item bought because the first one could not be found. A storage bin purchased when the house already had a perfectly usable box. A cleaning product bought in a hurry because the old refill bottle was not kept. A pantry item forgotten in the back until it expires. That is where money disappears. And the uncomfortable truth is that modern retail has trained people to accept this as normal. Walk down almost any store aisle in 2026, and you will see the same pressure everywhere. Single-use packaging. Multi-pack deals that encourage overbuying. Display tables full of backup items that make extra purchases feel responsible. Household products sold in ways that separate you from the value hidden inside them. You are not just buying soap, cereal, or storage bins. You are being encouraged to buy convenience, speed, and replacement. That feels harmless when prices are low. It feels expensive when they are not. And that is why the same behavior that barely mattered years ago now hits harder. A few dollars here, a few more there. Then a month later, you are looking at a grocery receipt and wondering why the total keeps climbing even though the cart does not feel bigger. Part of the answer is obvious. Food costs more. Household essentials cost more. But there is another layer beneath that. When people feel squeezed, they often start replacing things faster instead of using them longer. They buy a new bottle, a new organizer, a new gadget, a new pack of bags, a new storage solution. Not because the old one stopped working, but because the old one was inconvenient. That is where the budget gets quietly attacked. So let's start where the waste is easiest to see. The kitchen. The kitchen is often where good intentions go to die, because it is also where the most packaging comes through the door. Jars, tubs, boxes, trays, bags, clips, bottles. And once something is empty, many people toss it without asking one simple question. Could this still do one more job? Sometimes the answer is yes, and that one more job saves money. A clean jar can hold dry goods, loose tea, buttons, screws, shelf spices, or small pantry items. A sturdy takeout container can become a backup storage box for leftovers or chopped produce if it is still safe and clean. A cardboard box can help organize papers, seasonal items, or pantry cabinet clutter until a better system is needed. Lids, clips, and small bins can keep things grouped so you stop buying duplicates because you could not find the first one. That last part matters more than people realize. A cluttered kitchen does not just look messy, it creates financial confusion. If you cannot see the rice, you buy more rice. If you cannot find the foil, you buy more foil. If you cannot tell whether there are 3 jars of sauce in the back, you buy another one. The house then fills with duplicates, and the duplicates create more clutter. It becomes a loop, and the loop costs money. A simple fix is not to buy more containers right away. It is to sort what you already own. Put like with like. Keep dry goods together. Keep small clips and bag seals in one drawer. Keep reusable containers visible. Put older items in front where they will actually be used. That is not a craft trick. That is budget protection. Because if your pantry works, your wallet works better. Now move to the bathroom and laundry area, because this is another place where replacement spending hides in plain sight. People often throw away useful items in these rooms without thinking twice. A bottle is empty, so it is tossed. A towel is no longer perfect, so it is demoted too quickly. A cloth is used once and treated like trash. A simple container that held cotton pads or wipes is discarded even though it could store small items, refills, or backups. None of this sounds dramatic. That is the point. The money leak is not dramatic. It is ordinary. If you save a few decent cloths for cleaning instead of constantly reaching for disposable products, that can reduce repeat buying. If you keep a sturdy container for laundry pods, stain remover, pins, or small supplies, you are less likely to buy a fancy organizer you did not need. If you reuse a simple basket or box for bathroom supplies, you avoid the false idea that every storage problem requires a new purchase. It does not. A bathroom cabinet does not need to look like a showroom. It needs to function. That means making better use of what you already have, not turning your home into a storage catalog. And there is another hidden cost here. When a household is disorganized, people often buy items they already own because the first one is buried, forgotten, or lost. That is how you end up with 3 tape measures, 2 half-used bottles of cleaner, extra razors, duplicate toothpaste, and more bags than you can use in a year. Not because you are careless, because the system rewards quick replacement more than slow recovery. That is why it helps to think of your home as a value system, not just a place. A clean, empty jar is not garbage if it can hold something useful later. A sturdy box is not junk if it can create order. A cloth that has worn out in one roll may still be useful in another. A container from a product you already paid for may spare you from buying a separate organizer. And that is where people start to notice something important. The money does not only leave when you buy a new thing, it also leaves when you fail to extract the last useful life from what you already own. That is the part most stores never mention. They do not need to. The pressure is built into the environment. More packaging, smaller units, faster turnover, better versions that make the old version feel outdated. A constant message that the easiest answer is to replace, replace, replace. And if you are trying to manage a household on a fixed or tightening budget, that message can be dangerous. Because when prices rise, waste rises too. A few dollars of avoidable replacement at home might not sound serious by itself. But stretch that across cleaning supplies, pantry items, food containers, storage solutions, bathroom organizers, travel items, and emergency duplicates, and you're looking at real money leaving the house for no good reason. Now, before we go any further, pause for a second and ask yourself something honest. How many things in your home are not actually finished, just inconvenient? That question matters, because inconvenience is often what gets monetized. A partially used container becomes a discard. A slightly messy drawer becomes a reason to buy an organizer. A forgotten pantry item becomes expired food. A missing lid becomes a reason to throw away a whole container. A cracked but still useful item gets replaced because it no longer looks new enough. That is how replacement culture works. It turns minor friction into spending. And the bigger problem is not the object itself, it is the habit. If you keep replacing instead of restoring, reusing, or regrouping, the budget never gets a chance to breathe. So let's widen the lens. The real issue is not that people enjoy convenience. Everyone does. The real issue is that convenience has been trained to outrank value. Modern retail makes it feel normal to buy the easier version, the fresh version, the next version, even when the old version still has a job left in it. That is why the consumer lesson here is bigger than the kitchen drawer or bathroom shelf. This is about resisting replacement culture. Not every item should be saved forever. Not every container should be kept. Not every object deserves space in your house. But there is a healthy middle ground between hoarding and automatic disposal. That middle ground is where a lot of money can be protected. And it is especially important in 2026, when grocery spending and household costs are putting pressure on almost every family budget. If a household is already paying more at the register, then avoiding unnecessary repurchases is not a side hobby. It is a defense. Here is where people often lose the most money without noticing. They buy storage products to fix clutter that could have been solved by sorting what they already own. They buy bins for bins. They buy baskets for baskets, They buy drawer inserts when the drawer just needed to be cleared. They buy backup items because the originals were not organized well enough to find. That is a quiet drain. It feels productive, but it often just adds more stuff to manage. A better move is to create one reuse box in the home. Not a junk box, a usefulness box. Put in it the items that still have a real purpose. Good clips, extra lids, clean jars, small boxes, twist ties that actually work, spare buttons, measuring spoons, elastic bands. Useful little things that often get tossed even though they can solve a problem later. Once a month, look through that box. If something has no purpose, let it go. If it does, keep it visible and accessible. This is simple, but it changes behavior. It keeps useful items from being lost in the shuffle. It reduces duplicate purchases. It makes it less likely that you run out and buy something new just because the old item was hidden. And this same idea works in the pantry, the cleaning cabinet, and the bathroom. Monthly, take a quick look. Not a full project, just a check. What do we already have? What is usable? What do we keep buying because we cannot find it? What can still do one more job? That question is the center of the whole video, because the system profits when value is treated as disposable, but your household gets stronger when you treat value as recoverable. A lot of people think financial control comes from making dramatic cuts. It usually does not. It comes from fewer leaks. The obvious leaks are easy to see. The hidden ones are the repeat buys, the convenience buys, the replacement buys, the duplicate buys, the impulse buys made because a home is too cluttered to trust what is already there. That is why consumer awareness matters more than guilt. You do not need to scold yourself for having a drawer full of odds and ends. You do not need to turn your home into a minimalist magazine spread. You do not need to become extreme. You just need to see the pattern clearly enough to interrupt it. And once you see it, the next store trip changes. You stop asking, "What should I buy to fix this?" and start asking, "What do I already have that can solve this first?" That one change saves money in a very practical way. Maybe you find the container you almost bought. Maybe you reuse the box instead of paying for a bin. Maybe you discover 2 unopened items before buying a third. Maybe you delay a purchase because the old one still has life left. That delay matters. In a high-cost year like 2026, delay is a form of protection. Every unnecessary purchase postponed is money that stays in your account longer. And there is dignity in that. Not the false dignity of pretending prices are fine. The real dignity of choosing carefully, understanding the pressure, and refusing to let convenience quietly steer your household budget. So here is a simple control plan. First, sort before you shop. Look through the pantry, bathroom cabinet, and cleaning shelf before you buy organizers or duplicates. Second, keep one reuse area in the home. A place for clean jars, sturdy boxes, clips, and small items that still have value. Third, use the monthly check. A few minutes is enough to catch duplicate purchases and forgotten supplies. Fourth, treat the trash can as a decision point. Before something goes out, ask whether it still has one more job. That is not about keeping everything. It is about keeping control. Because control is what gets lost when replacement becomes automatic. And once you understand that, the whole picture becomes clearer. The rising grocery bill is one part of the pressure. The household bill is another. The convenience system is another. And the waste routine is the quiet part that often goes unnoticed. Put those together and you get the full pattern. Families are pushed to spend more, replace sooner, and discard useful value before it has been fully used. That does not mean every product is a trap. It means you have to be more deliberate about what leaves your house and what gets bought again. That is the real consumer protection lesson. Not hoarding, not deprivation, just better awareness. If an item still has one more job, let it earn that last job. If you already own a solution, use it before buying another one. If a purchase is being driven by clutter or convenience, slow down and look again. Small choices like that protect real money. And in 2026, protecting real money is not a minor habit. It is part of household survival. If this video helped you see the pattern more clearly, Stay with us. The next time you reach for the trash can or the store shelf, you may look at both a little differently. And that difference can save more than you think.